How's it, guys? I'm a Penny Pakari and I'm back in here, man. Today is another day, bro. So, here's the thing. I first want to play you guys a song, right? It's by KRS-One. It's called The World Is Mine. So, this song is like gonna kind of lead me to this whole topic. So, I want to first just play it out. So, bear with me. Let's hear it out, man. It's pretty cool. Check out KRS-One, man. He's a very wise man, wise hip hop artist. He's what you call that thing again? A philosopher, so the way he sees the world is just totally different, it's very interesting and intriguing for me, but it's also kind of out the box and very, can be a little controversial sometimes. So yeah, man, let's get into the track and then we'll go into the topic at hand. Let's go for it, man. Let's play it.
You know, whatever the brain doesn't have a word for, it can't see. I teach this all the time. The world is mine. M-I-N-D. There were two patients laying in the hospital. They shared the same room, both fighting health obstacles. The first patient had his bed by the window. He could see outside and feel how the wind blow. The second patient, his bed was by the wall. No window, he couldn't see nothing at all. So in summary, there was no sun to see. He was laying in the dark looking for recovery. He could see the other patients looking outside, and jealousy took over his pride he couldn't hide. He said to the patient by the window, "Hey, tell me what you see outside there today." The patient by the window started saying, "I see people walking, talking, I see children playing, cars going by with the booming system." But the patient by the wall could only lay and listen. Bedridden, he couldn't see it for himself, but the descriptions he was given was improving his health. Every day the patient by the window would say what he saw, and every day the patient by the wall wanted more. But what he wanted even more instead was to be in the patient by the window's bed. He wanted the same bed that the patient had. If he could just exchange beds, it would make him glad. So one day the patient by the window was gone, and the patient by the wall knew something was wrong. But he still asked the nurse if he could be first to get the bed by the window. And what's worse, he did get the bed by the window, but the shock instead was a wall full of bricks though. No cars, no people, no scenery, no light, no flowers, no greenery at all. It was like just a brick wall facing the window. He said to the nurse, "I was tricked, yo." The nurse said, "Trick, you'll be fine." But a view of a brick wall he didn't have in mind. And what really blew his mind is when the nurse said, "Cheer up, the previous patient, he was blind." He realized right at that time, you create your reality, the world is mine.
Woo! Okay. Yeah. I remember hearing that song the first time, man, and I was like, damn! And this is like the last track to the project, by the way. Like, this is from the album The World Is Mine, actually. That's the name of the album as well. So, yeah, man. So this goes into my topic that I want to talk about, which is about perception. Perception. How we see the world, what our eyes see, and what we see is what we internalize and what we make our reality, right? Depending on how we understand it, depending on the teachings behind it, the overall consciousness of what you're looking at is what's going to determine how you take it in. This is why you have certain situations whereby you have people who are offended by certain things that other people are not offended by, And that just goes with the pretext of everything that the subjectivity of what you receive. So it's always subjective, perception is subjective. It's literally like, yo, man, I don't like these Beats headphones. I don't know if I'm supposed to brand that, but I don't like those Beats headphones. But someone else dies for those Beats headphones, Like they would probably give up their leg for it because they're obsessed with the music. They're obsessed with how headphones are, the technicalities behind it, understanding it, and why it has so much worth. And someone else may not see that. Just like me, I know, for example, my brother, he loves shoes, and them, I don't know what it is about the younger generation in high school and stuff, but like they have this thing whereby if you wear like fake shoes, they like have you for it. And to me, when we were shopping and stuff, I was like, well, those shoes are nice. It's like, yeah, but they're fake. I'm like, but they're nice. Who's gonna tell whether they fake or not? Like, they just look nice. I just want to look nice. I don't care if it's real or not. It's just shoes, right? And to some of you, probably y'all offended by what I just said, but some of you agree with me. You kind of like, well, yeah, dude, why are you gonna pay that much money for this thing when you can rather buy this for a cheaper amount and it looks the same? It's the same perception my mom had about it, actually. She's like, well, why are you gonna be walking on the ground with $3,000 worth of shoes? So you're stamping with $3,000 on the floor. Why don't you just get something cheaper that looks similar? So that's just a small example about how we can perceive things, and perception is reality. And that is something that can make us question as to what is reality and what is your reality or what is my reality, if what you're living in or what you are currently experiencing is truth, if it's either maybe subjective or if it's objective. Maybe that is where the line is about it. And I always have this thing whereby I have these conversations with a lot of people where I'm like, it literally depends on how you look at it. Because the most optimistic people in the world, you will see that they can look at a bad situation and see the good in it. And for you, it may be impossible to see the good. And you don't understand why or how they can see the good in the situation. For example, let's say somebody, let's say you get evicted from your house, you lose your stuff. A positive person would see it as, well, I know this happened, but everything happens for a reason. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to open new doors. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to get a bigger place. I never know how life works, but then I want to see the good in it, to be like, okay, maybe this will push me to get a hustler's mentality, or it will push me to figure to get a better life for myself. Maybe where I was trapping me. Maybe I'm meant for more. Maybe I can do more. But then because of this, I was stopped. But maybe this eviction pushed me to that. But then someone else may see it as, well, my life is over. Oh my gosh, I'm moving back home to my parents' house. Oh my gosh, I can't do anything. Like, what am I gonna do? And then you start like panicking and you start making rash decisions and stuff like that, So that's just the two sides of the coin with everything. It's like there's still the same situation going on, but how you see the situation is what makes the difference. So it also goes with things such as being offended by certain things, I know like certain people have this thing where they get offended by certain words, I think also, for me, as controversial as this may sound, that what our perception is of certain words, we kind of accept it because we don't want to offend people. Things like swear words. I think that swear words and stuff are a perception thing, because they are just words like every other word. And I would agree that people would be offended by certain things if they have a meaning or subtext behind it. So it's not about the word, but the meaning. And what I say about some certain swear words is that how they are used is important. If I am saying something and describing it in this way, then I'm not saying it in offense, it's in another way. I'm saying it in another way. I'm making it a friendly way. But because of the word itself, that is offensive to some people. That's how they perceive it. So there's always different perceptions to everything. But then I will say that how you take things sometimes can be true, because sometimes somebody may mean harm, or they may mean to be rude about certain things. So it's not always completely off the table that, it's just my perception. If somebody's being rude to you, that's just it. Like, they're being rude to you because they are projecting that. They know they're being rude, but they feel justified to be rude in that moment. Okay, maybe they have a bad day. Maybe they are pissed off about something. They don't care. Maybe life just didn't go well for them and they just don't care how they act around people. You see, that was a positive way to look at it. But anyways, they can have those justifications when they're being rude to you, and you can receive that rudeness and be like, wait, like, why are you being so rude? You see it for what it is. But then how you take it, are you going to take it straight into your heart and let it pierce you and then you be rude back? Or are you going to just smile at it and be like, okay, dude, it's okay, it's fine. I understand you're probably having a bad day, whatever. Move on with your life. That is something that I'm trying to practice, bro. Like, I don't want to take things so seriously, I just want to, and that's where like forgiveness and stuff comes in, just that heart of letting go of things and not letting the ego take over so much, because the ego is always selfish, everything, it's about me, it's harming me, it's doing this to me. You're not thinking about the other person and where that may be coming from. You think about how it's affecting you. Have you ever really thought about the person that's offending you? Have you ever thought about where they are coming from? Why they are being rude to you? Sometimes it's just okay to be like, this is actually pretty ridiculous. There's no reason for this guy to shout at me. So I'm just going to keep quiet and, maybe try and make the situation better and project positive energy and rather say something out of love or say something positive to them, because I have an understanding that maybe they have turmoil within themselves and that's why they're acting the way they are. Me entertaining that and being like, I'm going to project the same thing they're projecting to me, I'm also going to be rude. Then that thing is just going to make it worse. It's not going to solve anything. You trying to be the person who sees beyond and trying to open your mind to the fact that how you take things is what really matters. And I'm not saying you're not going to feel things sometimes. I mean, you are human. Okay. So there's these things are just, these topics I'm raising are just for a form of practice. It's not a form of be this and be perfect in it. Okay. Because I don't think anyone is. I think even the greatest of monks who practice certain disciplines, okay, have some flaws. And I think it's just all about progressing rather than decreasing. Rather than I don't know English. Rather than decreasing. So I think progression is important, man. Just practicing these things with awareness and being like, let me try it out. Let me walk by this thing. And sometimes, yes, it gets hectic and I fall, but let me remember. Let me keep remembering. Because I have to sometimes always remind myself in certain situations, even when I get mad, sometimes I must think about it and be like, okay, Ape, take yourself out. Let me not be selfish. Let me approach this different. Even if someone else wronged me, let me just approach them and apologize first and be like, you know what, I was wrong for saying this. You never know how they may come back to you and be like, okay, yeah, I was also pretty effed up. Actually, you don't have to apologize. I was messed up. Because at the end of the day, both of us are facing that same feeling of that ego and that pride. That's what's just driving us the whole time, So, yeah, man. Also, something that KRS once said in one of his lectures, speaking of KRS, he was like, check this, right? Like your perception. A plumber walks into a room, and a painter walks into a room, and then an electrician walks into a room. The same room. All three of them are in the same room. Based on what those people know and what they can define, is how they're going to see that room. So the plumber, when he walks into the room, he's going to be like, oh, snap, like, the plumbing here is pretty good. The pipes are running through this thing and they're connecting to that and they're doing this and doing that based on his knowledge. That's what he sees the most in that place when he walks in there. And then the painter doesn't even notice the pipes. He notices the painting on the wall and what colors and what shades of color those walls are. So he's kind of like, oh, this is a nice texture, this thing it's pretty bright, it brings a nice warm vibe into the room, and whatever he can define, right? That's how he sees the same room that they're in. And then the electrician walks in and he sees the same room, but he doesn't even notice the painting, nor does he notice the pipes. He notices the lighting. So he's like, oh my gosh, the lighting here looks pretty good. Snap, that light is way too bright. That thing may blow in the next month or 2 months. And that glass, the way it is, it looks a little cracked. Maybe I need to think about replacing that. They'll be looking at what they know. Okay? So I think that's just a way to look at life sometimes. And I think it can help us understand people, understand how people think, where people come from. Because people will come from many different backgrounds in this life, and especially where we stay now. I stay in Gauteng, in South Africa, a province called Gauteng, and here there is a lot of diversity. People are coming from many different places from the world: Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Northern Cape, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, India, China, America, Australia, many different places, bro, in one land. So imagine all of us in this. How are we all going to perceive this? There's people who come from out there who see South Africa as the most beautiful place they've ever seen in the world because of where they come from. But then we are like from here, so we kind of chilled about it. And some things we complain about. We complain about a lot of things. And they don't complain about the same things we complain about. They see those things as a privilege. And then someone from another culture, background or whatever, and religion, they come together, they see the world different. They have a definition for why the sky is blue. You have a different definition for why the sky is blue. So I think once we get to that understanding about when we walk in life and meeting people, we need to, on a human level, understand that we are all seeing life from a subjective eye, and based on the things that we have gathered through our subjective experience. As much as we have this common thing within the humanity, like gaining, not the same way we gain knowledge, through the mind, and the fact that we have a heartbeat and we have feelings. Those are the common things about of the nature, the natural stuff of humanity. But then there's things on top of that, which are the definitions of things, the understanding, the knowledge. That's what's kind of different, So everybody still wants to be treated good. Nobody wants to be treated badly. Nobody wants to be murdered. Nobody wants to, be thrown off a cliff. And everyone wants to be loved. That's what I believe. So let's not be extreme about it and say, well, I perceive that you like it when I'm rude. Like, some people like it when you're rude to them. And some people like it when you kick them in the nuts. That was a bad example. Some people like it when you do bad things to them, what we all know as bad. That's not true. But we all see the world in different lenses and we understand it in different ways. And I think that's where a lot of the division is, especially with races as well and cultures. It's because we all coming from different walks of life, and it's hard for us to mash together because we've been so separated because of our own groups. And that's why when, if you notice, and some of you are in school right now, I know when I was in school, there was a lot of diversity and separation. I know I used to chill with the black guys, and the white guys used to chill with the white guys, and the Indian guys used to chill together. And I was like, why are we doing this? There was a point I asked myself, like, why are we like separating ourselves in groups like this? But I understand now that it's a thing of we relate better with those people because we come from similar backgrounds. And you're most likely to become close friends with somebody who understands you and somebody you understand. So that's just how it also is, you know? It's kind of like the relatability is what also can connect us. But then I think the more we learn about each other and the more we understand each other is the more we can relate with each other, because we start seeing how human we all are and we start coming together more like, oh, despite your background, despite this and that, we're all human at the end of the day. If we all have that one thinking, that perception of that we're all people and that you're not white or black or Indian or whatever, that we're all people, then there will kind of be a connection coming. And I think that's going to take years because we kind of like already just preconditioned from very young, and it's going to be hard for everybody to kind of join together. But the idea needs to be out there first. There needs to be an inception. There needs to be a seed in there. And then after that, we can start teaching that to the coming generation so that they can naturally gravitate. Because now what we're going to be doing is trying, but there's literally people who really see the world different from you and they like won't compromise it. You know, that's just the facts. Like, as much as we say let's come together, there's people there who legit think like, no, this and that and that. There's still racist people out there, as frank as I should put it. There's still people who believe in those systems. So it's kind of difficult, and what makes it hard is that those people will impose those things onto their kids. That's why I love children, man. Children are innocent. They like a clean slate. So I think as a generation, we always need to focus our energy on bettering the next generation and not ignoring them. So let's understand the importance of the kids, man. That we need to first figure it out and then know what we want as a collective and try to teach that to our kids so that they can live the dream, you know, and we can kind of experience it. Because I think we also like a bit better from what we were before. So this is how it should be. We should progress. Because before we couldn't even be in the same school as other races. Now we can. Now we have the opportunity to be in the same school. We have the opportunity to be in the same parties. Like, I went out with my friend the other night and it was a white party, you know, and I saw some black people there and, you know, we were connecting. It was the first time I was like really connecting with the other race properly, you know, and understanding and getting their stories and all of that, because we always just shown a picture about what is, and we don't get time to go out there for ourselves and experience it. So it's dangerous what we learn sometimes, like from school, you know, the school history and all of that. It causes a certain separation. But I think the more your school is diverse, is the better you can come to the dream. Because I was in a school that was mixed, you know, there was black people, white people, Indian people, there was some Chinese there, you know, there was coloreds. So we were just all in this one school and we had no precondition yet about the whole politics and the race things. So we were able to just be friends. Like, oh, I see you, let's play, you know what I mean? But as you grow up and start understanding how the world is, and now you start understanding where you are in the world and where he is in the world, and now there's already like a separation. Like, oh, your parents did this and you might be that because they might be teaching you this. And sometimes the parents could be subconsciously teaching the kids that, or teaching you that, you know. And now you go out and you act this thing out because of what you have been taught. And now you can't even face this person you used to be friends with in your childhood experience because of the whole thing about the preconditioning. So yeah, man, I think let's cut it there for now about perception. Okay, perception is important, man. Like, I think that's how we can get closer to love. That's how we can get closer to one love. I believe in one love, man. As Bob Marley, the great Bob Marley said, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying, one love. That's what we need, man. We need one love. Okay, that's my philosophy. And now we're just figuring out how to practically get to that one love. And that's what some of the things we just need to discuss. And this is one of them. How we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others. That is one of the first steps that we can go towards that. And that we can understand people and understand each other. Okay, so I guess that is my final message to this perception thing. Sometimes I never know where these videos may go when I make the topic, but the spirit kind of leads me to wherever it leads me to. So I think this is a nice closing for me to close by with this one love thing. And let's understand that our reality is our perception. We can be in the same earth, but see it totally different from one another. Under the same sun, but see it totally different. Some of them see it in a positive light, some of them see it in a negative light. And that's just how it is. So, man, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you. And please send me your comments, send me your Q&As, and let's discuss these things. Tell me what you guys want me to talk about as well. And I will see you next time. So for now, I say peace and love.
Stick up, chisa, chisa in my leg. It was side, boogie, boogie, pull up.